Hello everyone and welcome back to another Essential Album video. We're now on week 7 and this week we're taking a look at Such Pretty Forks in the Road by Alanis Morissette. So first released July 31st, 2020. Some notable tracks on this album include Reasons I Drink, Sandbox Love, Smiling, and The Blaze. I remember picking this album up, I think twice technically, because I pre-ordered the album digitally when it was announced. I think the release date got pushed up a little bit, or pushed back, I should say, from when it was supposed to come out initially. Still was supposed to come out in 2020, but I think with the kind of lockdowns and everything, it got pushed a little bit further into the year. So I pre-ordered it on, I think I pre-ordered it on Amazon. And then around the same time period, she was planning on doing a 25th anniversary tour for Jagged Little Pill. So I bought tickets to that. Actually went to the Hollywood Bowl to see that performance. She performed with Garbage and Cat Power. I think the lineup initially was supposed to be her, Garbage, and Liz Phair. Liz Phair ended up. They pushed the concert back like a year and a half, so it wasn't until 2021. So when I went, Liz Phair was no longer there, but Cat Power was there instead, and that was an incredible show. I think I have links to the video or the playlist. I'll put it in the description below. But the concert ticket included a digital copy of this album. So basically, I bought the album and then was given another digital copy by having a concert ticket to that Jagged Little Pill tour. Anyway, we have some notes here. We're going to get through those notes, and then we'll get to the track list and all that. I actually really enjoyed this album. I don't think it's near her top. Like, it's not like Jagged Little Pill to me is like the top for her discography. But overall, I think this album is really good. I don't know where I necessarily rank it in her complete works or even just her international works. The international albums, I think, were like basically like this is her 7th album, but I think her 9th overall, if you count, I think it's Alanis, which is her debut album in Canada. Let me just check her discography really quick. Yeah, because there's Alanis and there's Now Is the Time, which were, I don't think, ever released outside of Canada. So this is either, depending on how you're calculating her discography, this is either album 7, if you just go with Jagged Little Pill forward, or overall it's her 9th if you count those two, if you count Alanis and Now Is the Time. I think a lot of people don't count those two because they are, but Jagged Little Pill was a huge departure from that. And I think basically her style with Jagged Little Pill forward is more of what, she's pretty much known for. She's more known for kind of like rock style, or like, I guess I'll just call it rock. Those other two albums are more in like the pop vein. But we got some notes here about this particular album, so we'll get through those, and then we'll get to our track list and all that. So like we said, Such Pretty Forks in the Road, again, first released July 31st, 2020. Like we said, it was either her 9th or 7th studio album, depending on how you want to look at it. This was her first album since Havoc and Bright Lights, which was about like 8 years prior to this. So that came out in 2012, and then this came out in 2020, 8 years later. So a pretty big gap. She hasn't done an album, like a main proper album since this. She did, I think it was called The Calm Before the Storm. Let me actually just bring up her discography once more, because she did a kind of meditative album like after this, but it's also kind of a huge departure from what she's done normally. So yeah, there's The Storm Before the Calm, which came out in 2022, which is almost like, it's a meditative, almost like ambient record. It's really good, but it's like there's no real vocals to it. It's more kind of like, there is like, I think like vocalizations, like you can definitely hear like some sound like of like, but it's not really vocals. There's no like hooks and choruses or anything like that. So that came out. So this is like her last, I think, proper studio album before that like ambient meditative album. This came out, or debuted at number 16 on the Billboard 200. She apparently started working on the album in 2017, and according to my research, was on Anna Faris's podcast, where she was talking about writing the song Reckoning. So I think she had to go to court around that time period, and it was about people that were I haven't really researched the case or anything, but about people that were embezzling from her, so maybe like managers or like staff. I don't really exactly know, but that was all kind of about that. And then there was another one called Diagnosis, which was about kind of postpartum depression. Because I think prior to this album, with Havoc and Bright Lights, I think she had at least one, it could be mistaken, had at least one child at that time. And I think now, when this album came out, she had three. One cute thing she kind of does at concerts, at least the two times I've seen her, is I think the song is, it might be You Learn, but there's a lyric in, and that's off of Jagged Little Pill. There's a lyric in that sign. It's like wear it out the way your 3-year-old would do, and then she now adds in the ages of her 3 children into that song. So I think like the first time I heard her play this was at the Hollywood Bowl, the first concert I saw her at, I should say, and it was like wear it out the way a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 1-year-old would do. I could be mistaken on the ages. But then I saw her last summer as well, and the ages had been updated to obviously reflect the ages of the children at that time. So that's one cool thing that she does with that. But the song Diagnosis definitely like leads into kind of the whole postpartum depression thing. I think that's also one reason. I'm just kind of speculating here. There was the Jagged documentary that they did on HBO, which I thought it was a very good documentary. It was all very celebratory of Jagged Little Pill, and she was interviewed, and there was like some stuff that came to light in that documentary that she didn't like. She kind of disavowed might be a strong word, but kind of was not happy with the way some of those interviews came out, and kind of distanced herself from the documentary. But that documentary would have came out about the same time this album did. Maybe I remember seeing it. So it was like either like somewhat around this time period or like a year later. It was like, but relatively close together. So when that album came out, that documentary I think came out, because I think I remember seeing that documentary after seeing the concert at the Hollywood Bowl. So and then in 2018, she started working on, or at least previewed, the song Ablaze, which is all about kind of like her children. And I think it was like late night talk shows around the same time period. There was one, and they were all, like socially distanced. This is like 2020. So they were basically people at their houses. They were still doing these shows, but they would be basically, I don't know if it was Stephen Colbert or whoever it was, but the host was at their house, their guests were at their house, and they had an Alanis Morissette performance where she was at her house, like in her in-home studio. She has one of those. And then the other musicians were kind of playing from wherever they were at. And one of the videos that I remember seeing was she was performing it while she was like holding her like youngest kid at the time. So kind of leads into that whole time period. But yeah, that was specifically for the song Ablaze, kind of all about her children. The album promotion, like a lot of the big promotion, was tied to the Jagged Little Pill anniversary tour, which was again supposed to happen in 2020, and then it got pushed back to 2021. And the show I went to got pushed back from June of 2020 to June of 2021, and then further pushed back from June to like early October of that year. So saw that. There was a remix album for this called Such Pretty Forks in the Mix, and that came out in December of 2020, and it all included like trans inclusive artists. I think they were doing some stuff for like LGBTQ stuff in Turkey and Greece. There was kind of like some fundraisers going on with that. Let me actually just bring up the reviews for this album here, and then we'll get to our track list after that. So Such Pretty Forks in the Road, we pulled down. Overall, it came out to, I think, pretty positive reviews overall. Not nearly as good as like Jagged Little Pill, but that's kind of a very tough act to kind of follow. Anyway, so Metacritic has it at a 71 out of 100. Consequence of Sound has it at a B. Evening Standard has it at a 4 out of 5. The Independent has it at a 5 out of 5. Line of Best Fit has it at an 8 out of 10. Music OMH has it at a 4 out of 5. A 3 out of 5 from NME. Pitchfork has it at a 6.5 out of 10. Looks like Pop Matters has it at an 8 out of 10. Rolling Stone, 2.5 out of 5 from Rolling Stone. And the Sydney Morning Herald has it at a 3.5 out of 5. So kind of middling to decent, I would say. Pretty good reviews. Again, I really like the album. It's not my favorite from her, but I think it's pretty good overall. Let's go into our track list now. We got 11 tracks on the album, and it comes in at about 46 minutes and 3 seconds. Track 1 is Smiling. Really like that one. That was really good. Track 2, I think there's only 2 singles from this album. I think it's the singles are those even listed. Reasons I Drink, Smiling. I guess there were some singles, but I think the only 2 that were kind of big were Smiling and Reasons I Drink. But anyway, so track 1 was Smiling. Track 2 is Ablaze. Really like that one. Track 3 is Reasons I Drink, and I think that was like one of the lead singles. I remember before this came out, that was one of the songs that was heavily kind of pushed. Really like that one. Track 4 is Diagnosis. Track 5 is Missing the Miracle. Track 6 is Losing the Plot. Track 7 is Reckoning. Track 8 is Sandbox Love, and I don't think Sandbox Love wasn't a single, but it's one of my favorite tracks on the album. It's kind of like a deep cut that I really think Sandbox Love, it's definitely in my top 3 songs on the album. Track 9 is Her. Track 10 is Nemesis, and track 11 is Pedestal. So again, 11 tracks coming in at about 46 minutes and 2 seconds, or basically 46 minutes. And the singles off this album was Reasons I Drink. That was actually released in December of 2019. Then Smiling was February 21st of 2020. Diagnosis as a single was released, April 24th, 2020. Reckoning, July 9th of that same year, July 2020. And then Ablaze was August 4th, 2020. So 5 singles off of the album. So again, Reasons I Drink, Smiling, Diagnosis, Reckoning, and Ablaze. But again, like one of my favorite tracks on the album is Sandbox Love. So if I had to say my top 3 on the album, I'm probably gonna say out of, I think, Reasons I Drink probably being number 1, then Sandbox Love, then Ablaze. Smiling is good, but I think Ablaze is really good. Like a lot of people, I think when her second, or technically 4th album came out, so I'm gonna butcher the name of it. Supposed former Infatuation Junkie came out. A lot of people did not like the different direction that album went as far as lyrics. So a lot of people kind of, I think, expected the sound of Jagged Little Pill, and they didn't really get that. They got a completely kind of different direction with the lyrics, at least. But I remember reading, or listening, I should say, to an audiobook that she did for Apple Books, I think. I forget what it was called. But she had mentioned something about, and I'm totally going to paraphrase this. I'm probably not going to say this exactly correctly. But she kind of touched on that in the book and was like, well, when I did or wrote Jagged Little Pill, I was really angry. And then I wrote Jagged Little Pill and then got all that out, all the anger kind of out, or at least a lot of it out. And then when it came time to do a follow-up album, I wasn't as angry, or wasn't angry, so it was a little bit different. So that kind of relates to this, where she kind of will get everything she wants onto the album and kind of move on from it. And I think she's done that with every album, Havoc, what's it called? Havoc and Bright Lights? Yeah, Havoc and Bright Lights has a different tone than this one does. And I imagine the next proper studio album after this will be the same, where it'll be a completely different direction, where it's just an interesting way to evolve. I know a lot of, there's running jokes where it's I like that band until they did the exact same album 5 times. I don't think Alanis has ever really fallen into that trap necessarily. So there's been some times where there has been a theme running through multiple albums, but she approaches those songs from different kind of perspectives each time, at least in my opinion. But this is a really good album. If you haven't heard it, I highly recommend checking it out. And then there is, like I said, the Such Pretty Forks in the Mix remix album as well. That's worth checking out as well. But that is going to do it for this video. We'll be back again in a week from now with a whole new album. No idea what that's going to be just yet, but we'll be back in a week with that. So remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We'll see you again next time. Thank you for watching. Take care and have a good one.